Hey everybody. So hopefully everybody's doing okay. So let's go ahead and jump back into Act 1, Scene 1. Little bit of a refresher. So Scene 1 starts with two of the Capulets, the service people of the Capulets. They're not even like really high ranking people. They're not in the play anymore after this. But they're two servants, Gregory and Samson, who are walking down the street kind of talking crap about the Montagues. And one of them's kind of talking crap about the other one. They notice a Montague, Abram, and start trying to pick a fight with him. Abram kind of takes the bait, and they kind of start to have a fight. And then in comes Benvolio. Benvolio is another Montague. Benvolio is going to be one of our main characters. He's Romeo's cousin. He's going to be around for the rest of the play. Benvolio's trying to knock everybody down to have the fight stop, and in comes Tybalt, a Capulet. This is Juliet's cousin, and he he loves to pick a fight. He's going to fight any Montague that he can. So that creates a fight. In come the town people. The town people are upset about it, trying to stop the fight. That brings in the prince, Prince Aeschylus. The prince is the main ruler of Verona. So he comes in, puts a stop to everything, says, all right, now 3 times you've done this. You've started a brawl in our streets. Now the citizens are getting involved in it. No more. The next time one of you does this, the next time one of you disturbs the peace, you're going to die. So he takes off with Capulet to kind of start brokering peace, trying to figure out what's going to happen. That leaves Montague and his wife, Lady Montague, with Benvolio. They start talking about Romeo and wondering where he is. Benvolio says that he saw him out wandering around earlier that morning, but he looked like he had a lot on his mind and he ran off into the woods when he saw Benvolio. So Benvolio had stuff on his mind, decided to not pursue it any further. Lord Montague says that, yeah, he's like that every day. He's kind of whiny and crying and shuts himself up into his room. We don't know what's wrong with it. They see Romeo come into the scene and are like, okay, well, Benvolio sends them away and says, I'll figure out what's going on. And that's where we pick up today. So let's take a look at what we've got. So let's see. All right. So let's pick up here. Benvolio comes in. Good morrow, cousin. Ah, is the day so young? But new struck 9. Ay me, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that went hence so fast? It was. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? So he basically says, hey, good morning. And Romeo's like, morning? It's still morning? And Benvolio's like, yeah, it's only like 9 o'clock, man. Romeo says, sad hours seem long. He's like, time goes by really slow whenever you're sad. Then he goes, was that my father that just left? Was that my dad that just left? And Benvolio's like, yeah, it was. And he says, what sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? What's wrong? What sadness is causing you to feel like time's dragging on? And Romeo says, not having that which having makes them short. He goes, I don't have the thing that makes time fly. And Benvolio says, in love? You're in love? Romeo says, I'm out. Benvolio says, of love? So you're out of love? And Romeo says, out of her favor, where I'm in love. So Romeo's in love. Romeo's in love with a girl. And this is not Juliet. Romeo and Juliet have not met yet. So this is a girl, we're going to find out later, this is a girl named Rosaline. And Romeo's in love with her, but she's not having any part of Romeo. Benvolio says, alas, that love, so gentle in its view, should be so tyrannous and rough in proof. He's basically saying, yeah, that's sad. Love is beautiful. Love is this wonderful thing, so gentle in his view. But it's sad that it should be so tyrannous, so rough, so terrible. It's like, love's awesome. Why? I hate that it's not working out for you. Romeo says, alas, that love, whose view is muffled still, should with eyes see pathways to his will. He's like, yeah, love is supposed to be blind, but it can still make you do whatever it wants. So he's like, where should we eat? Where shall we dine? And then he looks around and he sees the blood and he sees the ruckus from the fight. He goes, oh me, what fray was here? What fight was here? Yet tell me not, for I've heard it all. There's much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O anything of nothing first create? O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep, that is not what it is. This love feel I, that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh? So Romeo goes kind of off on this, and he's like, you know what? What fight was here? He's like, you know what? Don't tell me. Don't even bother telling me. I've heard it all. There's a lot here to do with hatred, but this has more to do with love. And then he starts putting these oxymorons together. An oxymoron is two words that should not go together, like jumbo shrimp. Jumbo means big, shrimp means little. Pretty ugly, words that don't go together. So he's creating these ideas, these juxtapositions, when he says, like, oh, brawling love, loving hate, heavy lightness, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire. He's like, these things, these ideas, this love and this hate are kind of like battling against each other. And when he says, dost thou not laugh? He's like, isn't it enough to make you laugh? And Benvolio says, no, cuz, I'd rather weep. He's like, no, cousin, like, I don't want to laugh at that. I'd rather cry. And Romeo says, good heart at what? He's like, why would you rather cry? At thy good heart's oppression. So he's like, I'm crying. I'm upset because of how sad you are. Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of mine own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate to have it pressed with more of thine. This love that thou hast shown doth add more grief to too much of mine own. Love is a smoke raised with a fume of sights, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with loving tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall, and a preserving sweet. Farewell, my cuz. So he's like, oh, that's what love does. Such is love's transgression. He's like, that's what love does. I'm already feeling bad. Griefs of my own lie heavy in my breast. And he says, and you being sad about all this, and you being upset about the fact that I'm sad, all that's going to do is make me feel worse. This love that thou hast shown doth add more grief to too much of mine own. So he's like, that's love. Love is terrible. He's like, so you love me, and therefore you're feeling bad because I'm feeling bad. Well, now I already feel bad because of love. Now I have to feel bad because I've made you feel bad. That's what love does. And he talks about, like, it's a sea nourished with loving tears. Yes, it's a ocean, but the water is teardrops. It's a choking gall, a preserving sweet. So it's a piece of candy that chokes you. And he's just like, bye, I've got to go. Farewell, my friends. Benvolio says, soft, I'll go along. And if you leave me so, you do me wrong. So Benvolio's like, no, hold on, I'll go with you. And if you don't let me go, then you're doing me a bad thing. Romeo says, Tut, I've lost myself. I am not here. This is Romeo. This isn't Romeo. He is some other way. So he's like, I'm not even myself right now. I'm not Romeo. Romeo's somewhere else. Benvolio says, tell me in sadness, who is it that you love? He's like, all right, let's cut through this crap. Who are you in love with? And Romeo says, what, shall I groan and tell thee? He's like, really? Seriously? I've got to tell you? Benvolio says, groan? Why? No, but sadly, tell me who. Sadly means seriously. So he's like, now quit whining. Like, tell me who it is. Romeo says, a sick man in sadness makes his will. A word ill urged to one that is so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman. You're like, you wouldn't tell a sick man that he seriously has to make his will. Like, you wouldn't tell somebody that's sick that's like, hey, man, you probably should get on with, figuring out what's going to happen when you die. He's like, that just makes him worse. He's like, I don't want to talk about this. You know what? I'll give you something. I love a woman. And Benvolio says, I aim so near when I suppose you loved. He's like, I figured. Romeo says, a right good marksman, and she's fair, I love. He's like, you were right on target, and the woman I love is beautiful. And Benvolio says, a right fair mark, fair cuz, as soon as hit. He's like, well, a beautiful target is one that's hit the fastest. And Romeo says, well, in that case, you miss. She'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow, she lives uncharmed. She will not stay the siege of loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saint seducing gold. Oh, she is rich in beauty, only poor, that when she dies, with beauty dies her store. So Romeo says, well, if we're talking about hitting a target, then you missed on that one, because she won't be hit with Cupid's arrow. Cupid, the little angel boy that shoots the arrow and makes the person fall in love. He's like, yeah, we're talking about targets, and that one's not going to be hit. She has Diane's wit. She has Diana's wit, a goddess. So she's got her wit, and she's shielded by the proof of, and strong in proof of chastity well armed. So she's armed, almost like armor, with her chastity. Chastity is her purity, the fact that she's not going to sleep with any of the young boys. From love's weak childish bow, she lives uncharmed. So you can't get her with arrows of love. She'll not stay the siege of loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saint seducing gold. So he's like, I can't tell her wonderful things and win her over. Assailing eyes, I can't give her beautiful looks and look at her with puppy dog and loving eyes. That's not going to work. And ope her lap to saint seducing gold. She won't even open her lap. And again, you can see where Romeo's thinking right now. Being in love with Romeo is, he wants her to have sex with him. And she won't do that. Like, wouldn't even do it if he gave her wonderful gifts. Oh, she is rich in beauty, only poor that when she dies, with beauty dies her store. So, yeah, she's rich with beauty, but you know what? When she dies, it's going to go away. It's going to go to waste. Benvolio says, then she hath sworn that she will still live chaste. So he's like, so she's going to be a virgin forever? And Romeo says, she hath. And in that sparing makes huge waste, for beauty, starved with her severity, cuts beauty off from all posterity. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead that live to tell it now. So he's like, yes, she has. She's not going to have sex, and despite the fact that she won't, well, her beauty goes to waste. In that sparing makes huge waste. So the fact that she's not going to sleep with me, it's terrible waste. She, for her, let's see. For beauty starved with her severity cuts beauty off from all posterity. So it's like, if she's not going to have sex, then she can't have children later down the line, and her beauty can't be passed down the line. And it's like she's too beautiful and too wise to deserve like heaven's blessings by making me feel bad about it. She's forsworn to love. She's sworn off love. And in that promise, she's killed me. Benvolio says, be ruled by me. Forget to think of it. He's like, take my advice. Don't even think about her. Forget about her. And Romeo says, oh, teach me how I should forget to think. He's like, forget to think of her. And he's like, how should I do that? You can't teach me how to do that. And Benvolio says, by giving liberty unto thine eyes, examine other beauties. He's like, forget about her by looking around. There's other beautiful women out there. Look at them. Romeo says, 'tis the way to call hers exquisite and question more. These happy masks that kiss fair ladies' brows, being black, puts us in mind that they hide the fair. He that is stricken blind cannot forget the precious treasure of his eyesight lost. Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve as but a note, where I may read who passed the passing fair? Farewell, thou canst teach me to think. So he goes, you know what? You can't do that. If I look at other women, all I'm going to do is think about how beautiful Rosalind is. It's like beautiful women wearing masks over their faces, and the only thing that the mask is going to do is make me wonder what's underneath it. And I'm going to think about how beautiful she is. A man that falls blind, a man that goes blind, doesn't suddenly forget how beautiful the world was. So just because I'm looking around at other people and I'm trying not to think of her, I'm just going to think about how beautiful she is. That's going to make me remember, make me think of her. So he just kind of brushes Benvolio off and he says, I can't. Sorry. Thou canst not teach me to forget. He's like, you can't teach me this. And Benvolio says, I'll pay that doctrine or else be in debt. Benvolio's like, I'll show you that I can take this away from you. I'll show you I'm right. Or I'll die in your death. And Romeo and Benvolio leave the scene. And that's Act 1, or Act 1, Scene 1. So we've met Romeo, one of our title characters. We've met his parents. We've met his cousin, Benvolio. And we've met Tybalt from the Capulets. We've also met Capulet and his wife. So we've met some of the characters. Our next scene, Scene 2, we're going to be meeting a couple of the other characters. We're going to be meeting Juliet. We're going to be meeting a little bit more in depth Juliet's mother and Juliet's nurse, which is the kind of the maid for Juliet. So we'll get to that in the next video. Real quick on this one of the things that I'm kind of noticing with some of the stuff that's being turned in, some of y'all are doing it, about half of you are doing it, and the other half aren't that I've seen turned in so far. The Google slide that I share with everybody, that can be edited. So when it asks you a question, you can click in the box or where the blank, where if that was a piece of paper, you would answer the question. You can click in that and type. And then you can just turn that in. You don't have to attach another document or you don't have to do anything. If you can access that Google slide, just open it up, click on it, type into it. That's all you have to do. I'm not going to give you another assignment on this one until after Scene 2. You'll get a Google slide, same thing that's Scene 1 and Scene 2 together. But when you do that, you can click in that. I'll bring it up and show you after I'm actually finished Scene 2. But until then, y'all stay safe. Have a good day. I'll see you back here for Scene 2.